In the grand tapestry of Earth's history, few chapters are as captivating as the rise and fall of the dinosaurs. These magnificent creatures dominated our planet for over 160 million years, shaping ecosystems and adapting into a myriad of forms that continue to captivate our imagination. But as the curtain fell on the Age of Reptiles, it gave way to an unexpected sequel, one where the supporting characters stepped into the spotlight and nearly stole the show. Enter the forest racids, more commonly known as the terror birds. These feathered nightmares emerged from the ashes of the dinosaur extinction, carrying the torch of their terrifying predecessors and proving that nature abhors a vacuum, especially when it comes to apex predators. Roughly 53 million years ago, in the early Eocene, the world was a very different place. A hothouse Earth with lush forests stretching from pole to pole, filled with a diverse range of life forms that emerged after the extinction of the dinosaurs. It was in this steamy, prehistoric paradise that the first terror bird, Paleopsilopterus, made its debut. Standing at a modest height of 1 meter or 3 feet, this Brazilian bird might not have seemed particularly terrifying at first glance. In fact, it was about the same size as a modern-day stork, hardly the stuff of nightmares. But appearances can be deceiving, and Paleopsilopus had something its contemporaries lacked: potential. What set Paleopsilopus apart was its agility and speed, traits that would become hallmarks of its descendants. While it may not have been the apex predator of its time, dwarfed by monstrous crocodilians and giant snakes, it was a harbinger of things to come. Little did the other inhabitants of ancient South America know that they were witnessing the birth of a dynasty that would reign for millions of years. As the Eocene progressed, so did the terror birds. Nature, it seemed, had plans for this lineage of avian predators, and those plans involved getting bigger, much bigger. Just 3 million years after Paleopsilopus took its first steps, a new player entered the scene. Eleutherornis, a terror bird that stood 50% taller than its ancestor, emerged as a formidable predator. But Eleutherornis wasn't content with merely growing in size. It also expanded its range in a way that no other terror bird would match. While most of its kin would remain firmly rooted in the Americas, Eleutherornis spread its wings and ventured across the sea to Europe. Fossil remains of this globe-trotting terror have been found in both France and Switzerland, making it the only known member of its family to have lived outside the New World. One can only imagine the surprise of early European mammals when this exotic predator appeared in their midst, bringing a taste of South American terror to the Old World. But Eleutherornis was just the opening act. As the epochs rolled by, the terror birds continued to grow, adapt, and diversify. It was as if they were engaged in a relentless competition with themselves, each new species trying to outdo its predecessors in size and ferocity. The Oligocene epoch, spanning from about 34 to 23 million years ago, marked a turning point in the terror bird saga. It was during this time that the family truly began to live up to its name, with the emergence of giants that would have given pause to even the bravest of prey, the Paraphysornis. This Brazilian bird was an absolute behemoth that stood 1.4 meters or 4.5 feet tall and tipped the scales at a whopping 180 kilograms or 400 pounds. To put that into perspective, Paraphysornis outweighed the largest living bird today, the ostrich. This was no lightweight contender. Paraphysornis was built like a feathered tank, with robust bones that spoke of raw power. Paleontologists believe that Paraphysornis hunted, using a combination of kicks, slashes, and powerful jabs with its sharp beak. It's a hunting style that might remind one of a prehistoric version of mixed martial arts, with Paraphysornis as the undefeated heavyweight champion of its time. But Paraphysornis wasn't just a mindless brute. Like many of its terror bird kin, it likely possessed a level of intelligence that set it apart from other contemporary predators. Studies of terror bird brain cases suggest that they had well-developed visual and auditory centers, indicating keen senses that would have made them formidable hunters. As impressive as Paraphysornis was, it was merely setting the stage for what was to come. As we step into the Miocene and Pliocene epochs, spanning from about 23 to 2.5 million years ago, we encounter the true giants of the terror bird family. These were creatures that pushed the boundaries of what it meant to be a bird, reaching sizes that rivaled the predatory dinosaurs of old. 3 names stand out in this pantheon of avian terrors: Titanus, Kelenkin, and Brontornis. Each of these genera represents the pinnacle of the terror bird lineage, and each had its own claim to fame. Titanus, the youngest and smallest of the trio, was also the most adventurous. While most terror birds were content to dominate South America, Titanus had grander ambitions. It crossed the newly formed land bridge connecting North and South America during the Great American Interchange, becoming the only large South American predator to successfully establish itself in North America. Unlike most of its relatives, this bird lived in what is now the United States, including the states of Texas, Florida, and California. Standing 2 meters or 6.6 feet tall, Titanus would have been an imposing sight for the mammals of North America. Imagine the shock of a Pleistocene horse or ground sloth, accustomed to watching out for saber-toothed cats and dire wolves, suddenly confronted by this alien predator, half bird, half nightmare. But as impressive as Titanus was, it was dwarfed by its cousins back in South America. Kelenken, named after a mythological Tehuelche spirit, stood a towering 3 meters or 9.8 feet tall and weighed around 250 kilograms or 550 pounds. This was a bird the size of a grizzly bear, with a head larger than that of a horse and a beak that could crush bone. Speaking of its head, recent studies have shown that Kelenken and other large terror birds possessed a unique skull structure that set them apart from their smaller relatives. Known as the terror bird skull type, this adaptation gave them increased bite force and pecking power. This suggests that these giants may have been capable of taking down larger prey than previously thought, potentially including some of the megafauna that roamed South America during their reign. But the title of the largest terror bird is still hotly debated, with Brontornis giving Kelenken a run for its money. While slightly shorter at 2.8 meters or 9.2 feet, Brontornis was built like a feathered bulldozer, potentially weighing up to 400 kilograms or 880 pounds. This made it not just the heaviest terror bird, but also the heaviest carnivorous bird of all time and the 4th heaviest bird overall. Interestingly, Brontornis has been the subject of scientific controversy. Some paleontologists have questioned whether it was truly a terror bird or even a carnivore at all, citing similarities in its toe claws to those of herbivorous birds. However, recent studies have identified features in Brontornis's vertebrae that are unique to terror birds, lending weight to its classification as a member of this fearsome family. Whether Brontornis was a terror bird or not, its massive size would have made it a force to be reckoned with. Its weight likely made it slower than its more nimble cousins, but what it lacked in speed, it made up for in raw power. One can imagine Brontornis as the tank of the terror bird world, capable of steamrolling over any prey unfortunate enough to cross its path. While the giant terror birds like Kelenken and Brontornis might have relied on their size and power to dominate their environments, many of their relatives took a different approach. Speed, it seems, was just as important as size in the terror bird playbook. Studies of terror bird leg bones have revealed a structure remarkably similar to that of modern-day ostriches. Short thigh bones paired with elongated lower leg and foot bones. This adaptation is a clear indicator of high-speed running ability. Paleontologists estimate that many terror birds, including some of the larger species like Titanus, could have reached speeds exceeding 30 miles per hour or 48 kilometers per hour. This makes them faster than the fastest recorded human ever, Usain Bolt, while standing twice as tall and weighing several times as much. But speed wasn't just about chasing down prey. For many terror birds, especially the smaller and medium-sized species, it was also a crucial defensive adaptation. In a world filled with other large predators, including giant carnivorous mammals and enormous crocodilians, the ability to make a quick getaway could mean the difference between life and death. This combination of speed and size made terror birds versatile predators, capable of adapting to a variety of hunting strategies. Smaller, faster species might have specialized in chasing down swift prey, like small mammals and reptiles, while the larger, more powerful species could have employed ambush tactics or even taken on larger, more dangerous quarry. While their imposing size and fearsome beaks often steal the spotlight, the true power of terror birds lay in their highly developed senses. Recent studies of terror bird skulls and brain cases have revealed that these prehistoric predators were equipped with sensory capabilities that put them leagues ahead of many of their contemporaries. While terror birds might not have had eyesight quite as sharp as modern raptors like eagles or hawks, they were far from being visually impaired. Their eyes were well developed and positioned to provide excellent depth perception, a crucial advantage for any predator. But what really set terror bird vision apart was its versatility. These birds were equally adept at seeing in bright daylight and in the dim light of dawn and dusk. making them effective hunters around the clock. As for their hearing, the inner ear structure of terror birds suggests an acute sensitivity to low-frequency sounds. This ability would have allowed them to detect the footsteps and movements of potential prey, even when hidden by dense vegetation. Imagine a terror bird standing motionless in the prehistoric forests of South America, its head cocked slightly to one side. To a casual observer, it might appear to be resting or even dozing. But, in reality, every fiber of its being is alert, its incredibly sensitive ears picking up the faintest rustle of leaves or the softest patter of tiny feet. In an instant, it can pinpoint the location of its unsuspecting prey and launch into action. This combination of visual and auditory prowess made terror birds the complete predatory package. It's no wonder these birds were able to dominate their ecosystems for millions of years. But even the mightiest rulers faced their downfall, and the reign of the terror birds was no exception. For millions of years, these avian predators had ruled supreme in South America, developing into a diverse array of species that filled various ecological niches. But somewhere along the line, their luck ran out. Traditionally, the extinction of the terror birds was linked to the Great American Interchange, a major paleozoographic event that occurred about 2.7 million years ago. This event saw the formation of the Isthmus of Panama, creating a land bridge between North and South America. As a result, animals from both continents were able to migrate across this newly formed connection, leading to a significant reshuffling of fauna. The conventional wisdom held that the influx of new predators from North America, including cats, dogs, and bears, outcompeted the terror birds, leading to their eventual extinction. It was a neat and tidy explanation that seemed to make perfect sense. However, as is often the case in science, the truth has turned out to be more complex and nuanced. Recent studies have cast doubt on this simple competition-based extinction model, revealing a more intricate tapestry of factors that led to the terror bird's downfall. One of the primary challenges to the competition hypothesis comes from a closer examination of the fossil record. It turns out that most terror birds, along with many of their main South American competitors, had already disappeared long before placental predators arrived in South America in significant numbers. This timing mismatch suggests that something else was at play. Moreover, the success of Titanus in North America serves as a counterpoint to the idea that terror birds couldn't compete with placental mammals. Not only did Titanus successfully expand its range northward during the interchange, but it also managed to coexist with large canids and felines for millions of years. Clearly, at least some terror birds were more than capable of holding their own against mammalian predators. So if competition alone didn't doom the terror birds, what did? The answer, as is often the case in paleontology, likely involves a complex interplay of factors. Climate change, in particular, may have played a significant role. From the Oligocene to the Pliocene, Earth's climate was on a long-term cooling trend, culminating in a series of ice ages. This global cooling would have had a profound impact on the ecosystems that terror birds called home. As temperatures dropped and habitats changed, the lush forests that many terror bird species relied on would have given way to more open grasslands. While some terror birds may have adapted to these new conditions, others would have struggled. The larger, more specialized species in particular might have found it difficult to find enough prey to sustain their massive bodies in these changing environments. Meanwhile, the influx of new competitors from North America, while perhaps not the primary cause of their extinction, would have added additional pressure to already stressed populations. Despite the challenges they faced, the terror birds proved to be remarkably resilient. Recent discoveries have pushed back the date of their extinction much further than previously thought, painting a picture of a group of animals that fought tooth and claw, or perhaps more accurately beak and talon, to survive in a changing world. For years, it was believed that terror birds had gone extinct around 1 million years ago. However, new fossil evidence has dramatically altered this timeline. Some smaller species of terror birds have now been dated to as recently as 96,000 years ago, a mere blink of an eye in geological terms. Even more tantalizing is the discovery of a set of fossils attributed to an unidentified terror bird species in a formation dated to just 18,000 years ago. If confirmed, this would mean that terror birds survived almost to the cusp of human arrival in South America, which occurred around 15,000 years ago. This revised timeline raises some intriguing questions. How close did humans come to encountering these feathered giants? What would such an encounter have been like? And perhaps most tantalizingly, Could there be any truth to the legends of giant birds that persist in the folklore of some South American cultures? While it's unlikely that humans ever directly interacted with terror birds, the possibility that our ancestors might have heard stories of these creatures passed down through generations is not entirely far-fetched. After all, other megafauna that coexisted with early humans, such as woolly mammoths and giant ground sloths, left lasting impressions on human culture and mythology. The near miss between humans and terror birds also serves as a poignant reminder of the incredible diversity of life that has existed on our planet. It's sobering to think that if the terror birds had managed to hang on for just a few thousand years longer, our understanding of the natural world might be very different today. But terror birds were just one of many creatures that dominated prehistoric lands. Other ancient beasts ruled the earth with the same power and ferocity as dinosaurs once did. To learn all about them, click on this video right here. And as always, thank you for watching.